from the first minutes of a new day. In the bitter cold of the northern offshore waters, giant fishing boats have begun to move. This is not a journey of discovery, nor a vacation, but a real war. A war between humans and nature, between technology and the power of the sea. The only goal? Hundreds of tons of snow crabs, a strange creature that lives in the deep sea, where light cannot reach, but brings top economic value to the global seafood industry. Unlike conventional fishing, hunting snow crabs not only requires strength, but also extremely meticulous calculation, modern positioning technology and a closed processing chain right on the ship. The crabs do not float in the water, but live deep in the cold crevices of rocks hundreds of meters below the sea surface. To catch them, the fishermen must use a large-scale bottom trawl system, hundreds of meters long, capable of sweeping across the seabed without disturbing the natural habitat. The ship left port the night before, fully loaded with food, fuel, dozens of workers, technicians and sensors. In the control room, the green light of an electronic map shines on the captain's attentive face. Each data collected from the seabed sensor is an important clue to determining whether a place is worth casting a net. Veteran fishermen do not rely only on machines, they also feel the ocean currents. Analyze the wind direction, and even rely on the smell of the seawater to judge which direction the crabs are moving. When they reach the right coordinates, a signal is sent out. Immediately, the automatic crane system begins to lower each heavy net into the seabed. The bottom trawl does not drop straight down but is pulled along. Close to the bottom, winding through cold coral areas, through natural rock shelves, where snow crabs often live during the breeding season. Sometimes the whole ship has to move for 5 to 7 hours to sweep through a potential area. The positioning system is constantly updated with information. Every move is closely monitored in the control cabin. During that time, the work teams begin to prepare for the next stage. They check the conveyor belt, clean the processing area, and pre-cool the storage chambers. The boiler is started early so that the crabs can be steamed as soon as the first batch is pulled up. Time is of the essence. Just a few minutes late, the live crabs can weaken. The meat is no longer as firm as desired. That is why the entire operation on the ship is like an industrial production line, precise, fast and no room for error. When the net is full, a series of whistles sound to signal, prepare to pull the net. At this point, on the deck, the entire crew is in position. Each person is responsible for a part, someone pulling the rope. Someone operating the crane, someone opening the mouth of the net, someone ready to clear the floor and sort. When the net is pulled out of the water, the seawater rushes out like a waterfall, dragging thousands of snow crabs, layer by layer, onto the deck. It is a moment of relief and tension, because the catch is not always big. As soon as the crabs hit the deck, the work process is almost non-stop. The workers start to arrange the crabs on trays. Each one is checked by hand, measured for size, and the condition of the shell is assessed. Those that meet the standards will be taken straight to the processing area, while those that are small or of poor quality will be recorded and released back into the sea. This is not only to protect aquatic resources but also a mandatory regulation in international fishing agreements, where sustainability is a top priority. As soon as the first batch of crabs is brought into the processing area, a modern chain of lines begins to operate continuously. Snow crabs are passed through a high-pressure seawater jet system to clean their entire bodies, a process that helps remove sand, algae debris, and even small parasitic organisms that have attached themselves to the crab's shell after a long time living at the bottom of the sea. The crabs are then transferred to the cold anesthetic area, where extremely low temperature salty ice water causes the crabs to fall into a state of immobility in just a few minutes. This helps keep the crab meat firm while ensuring that the crab legs are not damaged or cramped, an important factor in maintaining the product's beautiful appearance. Immediately after that, each batch of crabs is placed on a conveyor belt to be placed in a high-capacity steam oven. The temperature, pressure, and time are precisely adjusted for each batch to ensure that the crab meat is cooked to perfection, retaining its natural sweetness without being dry or crumbly. Every 15 to 20 minutes, a batch of crabs is steamed and transferred to the flash freezing area. Here, the super-fast freezers operate at -35 to -45 degrees Celsius, enough to completely freeze the crabs within a few dozen minutes, preserving the freshness and quality of the meat as when they were alive. One of the special features of modern snow crab fishing vessels is the high level of automation. The vessels are equipped with electronic scales, vacuum packaging, traceability labels and trays according to international standards. Each crate of crab, after being packaged, will be scanned and stored in the data system, recording the time of catching, coordinate location, processing time, shipment and responsible person. All of this is to ensure absolute transparency in the supply chain, a mandatory requirement from high-end markets such as Japan. The EU and North America. However, not every trip goes smoothly. There are days when the weather suddenly turns bad. Strong winds cause the vessel to rock, and waves hit 6 to 7 meters high, causing seawater to flood the deck. Even though the workers wear thick protective clothing, they are still freezing, their hands are numb, and their faces are exposed to the cold wind. But everyone still works tirelessly. They take turns in shifts. Each shift lasts from 6 to 8 hours. With a few hours of rest before continuing. Some people don't see the sun for a whole week because they only work the night shift. Some people finish a shift, have just eaten half a bowl of rice when the alarm sounds to signal that the net is almost full. They have to skip their meal to go out and pull crabs. Life on the boat seems completely separate from the mainland. There are no streets, no phone signal, no Wi-Fi. The only communication is via satellite radio and long-range positioning system. For veteran fishermen, this is a familiar life. A unique rhythm of the sea. But for those who are on the boat for the first time, the feeling of isolation, being far from home and the prolonged cold can be a real shock. However, they continue because this fishing job not only brings high income but also pride, when they are the ones who are bringing high-quality seafood from the deep sea to the dining tables of millions of people around the world. On the deck, next to the crates of newly packaged snow crabs, there are eyes shining with joy when seeing the results of their work. Some have been at sea for 30 years. Now their hair is gray, but every time they pull in a full catch of crabs, they still cannot hide their joy. There is a young man who is only 19 years old, following his father to sea for the first time. His hands are still clumsy when removing the net, but his eyes are full of excitement. And so, each generation of seafarers follows one another, passing on their experiences, preserving their profession, and surviving each harsh crab season together. After many days at sea, going through dozens of times of dropping and pulling the net, hundreds of tons of snow crabs have been harvested, processed, frozen, and filled the cold compartments below the ship. Stainless steel trays containing packaged crabs are stacked evenly, covered with dry ice to ensure that the temperature does not exceed the standard level. In the control room, the computer system automatically updates the quantity of each type of crab, total weight, processing time, as well as the status of the equipment. All are accurately recorded so that after returning to shore, they will be transferred to the International Seafood Inspection Center. The trip usually lasts from 10 to 21 days, depending on the crab output and weather conditions. When the ship reaches its maximum output or when the storage tanks are full, the captain will order a turnback. But the return journey is not leisurely. Everyone still has work to do. Some check the freezing system. Some make a list of goods. Some start cleaning the processing area and equipment. Others take a nap after a series of non-stop working days, curling up in the narrow resting compartment, covering themselves with thick clothes to resist the cold at night at sea. Along the way back, the ship will pass through some areas with large waves, but with a specially designed hull, equipped with automatic balancing and a modern vibration reduction system. Everything is still guaranteed to be stable. In the dining room, a hot, simple meal of canned vegetables, salted meat and crab soup cooked from the products of the trip soothed the fatigue in everyone's eyes. They talked about the recent catch, about the special catch of crabs as big as a small dog. Or old stories, someone was almost swept away by the waves. Someone had salvaged a gold ring from the bottom of the sea. Or the story of the oldest fisherman on the ship still pulling hundreds of kilograms of nets by hand. When the ship docked, the atmosphere was bright. Refrigerated trucks lined up waiting. The fishing port suddenly bustled with calls to each other. The sound of engines starting up. The sound of cranes lifting trays of crabs from the freezer to the shore. Each crate of crabs was checked one last time, from the firmness of the meat. The coldness of the preservation, to the scratch-free outer shell, before being certified and sent straight to processing plants. Cold storage or export airports. Some of the crab will be kept intact for export to Japan, South Korea and Europe, where snow crab is an expensive delicacy served in high-end restaurants. Some will be further processed, peeled, meat removed, canned soup, or processed into frozen sushi. There are also special orders from 5-star restaurants, only crab legs. Keep the shape, do not break, each one must be exactly the same. Such batches of crab are sold at very high prices, sometimes 3 to 5 times higher than the normal market. But behind the million-dollar figures, behind the snow crab dish appearing on the menu of luxury restaurants, is a world of silent, arduous and extremely admirable labor. The fishermen not only bring crabs to shore, but also carry the resilient spirit of humans in the face of harsh nature. They are the embodiment of precision, endurance, and the belief that if there is determination, the sea will not disappoint. And when the last batch of crabs is brought ashore, the fishermen can truly breathe a sigh of relief. They do not cheer, do not show off. Just silently watch the boxes being sealed, loaded onto refrigerated trucks and leaving. For them, each successful trip is not simply bringing back a few hundred tons of snow crab, but bringing back life. The effort not being wasted, the ship returning safely with the entire crew. Because there are ships that go out to sea and never return, the ocean is vast. Beautiful but also cruel, never an easy place to conquer. After each snow crab season, the ship is brought to the dock for maintenance. The cable system, net reel, steamer, freezer, and even the cold rooms below are all removed for cleaning, replacing parts, and repainting the surface. Some ships have to stay at the dock for several weeks just to replace all the equipment because they have exceeded their capacity after many consecutive fishing seasons. The crew also got some time off. Some returned to their families, some to their fishing villages to continue another job. Some to prepare for a further trip to the waters of Alaska or Greenland, where snow crabs thrive, but where the waves are many times more violent. Snow crab is not only a valuable seafood product, it is also a symbol of the modern fishing industry, where humans have overcome the limits of manual labor to apply high technology to every step of catching, processing and preserving. It is also the crystallization of the perfect combination of intelligence,